Her title is Give a Dog a Bone. Tania is an animal lover. She has owned over 130 birds, including chickens, parrots, cockatiels, and finches. As a past volunteer at the Oregon Humane Society, sorry, that's not coming out right, Tania fostered dogs and birds, helping to find good names for these loving pets, or good homes. She currently resides in Lake Oswego with her husband Steve, dog Trouble, and 2 cockatiels, Salty and Michael Jackson.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I am going to get straight to the point. I do not like little dogs. I know, little dogs are cute, and I'm sure some of you in this room love your Chihuahua, and your Jack Russell, and your little Bichon. But I've been rubbed the wrong way by little dogs. In my life, I've owned over 7 dogs. I've had Tippy and Juba and Tasha and Akmak and Puff and Casey and Trouble. They all have been 50 pounds or greater. Now, I got Tippy when I was about 2, and he was an Australian Shepherd mix. He wasn't a very nice dog. And when I climbed up on his back and he started to growl, my dad got a little worried and thought he was going to have to shoot Tippy. But from that moment forward, Tippy and I became best friends. Jiva was brought home by my aunt when I was about 4, and I used to use Jiva as a pillow. She made a nice big pillow being bigger than me, and she was a really great dog. Tasha was a Doberman Pinscher, and Tasha was around until she went into heat, and then she just disappeared. Back in those days, we didn't go get dogs fixed. It was more like take them out to the desert and leave them. Akmak was named after a cracker. She didn't stay around too long. I don't know what happened to her. And then there was Puff. I got him for Easter one year when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and he was my best friend throughout elementary school and high school. He died when I went away to college. Casey was my dad's dog, and Casey was an AKC Airedale. His registered name with the American Kennel Association was Crazy Colonel Casey, and boy was he crazy. But he used to sleep outside my door and protect me while I slept. And last but not least is Trouble. She's my pride and joy. She's an award-winning dog. Trouble was born on October 7th, 1999, to a pit bull and a Labrador in White City, Oregon. Now you're wondering how a person who can love dogs so much can dislike little dogs. Well, first there was Daisy. Daisy bit my 12-month-old in the face. When my daughter was 7, another small dog bit her arm. There was once this Jack Russell Terrier who would bark and bark and bark and bark and bark the entire 2 years I lived next door to him. A Corgi ate my couch. There was even a miniature dachshund who destroyed everything from my $5 underwear to my $500 electronic equipment. And I just barely paid that off. And most recently, there are all these little small dogs who keep beating Trouble for the first place ribbon at the Tualatin Crawfish Festival. 3 years ago, Trouble came in 4th place. She was dressed like a pirate for this costume contest. She wore an eye patch and a pirate shirt and a belt with a saber on the side, you know. And she even had keys around her neck. She looked like kind of one of those dogs at the Disneyland there at the Treasure Island event. But she lost to the first place dogs were miniature greyhounds, and one was dressed up like a little blazer basketball player, and the other was a cheerleader. Then there was the year where she dressed up like a dralion, which is a ancient Chinese mythical creature, half dragon, half lion. I made her costume out of red velvet, and it was adorned with jewels. The lion's mane was made out of yarn. She looked fabulous. She came in third place. The two dogs that came in first and second were little. One was a Chihuahua. It had a styrofoam crawfish taped to its back. The second small dog also had a styrofoam crawfish taped to its back. I don't know what's wrong with these judges. I think they have it out for big dogs. This year, just last week, we entered Treble into the Crawfish Festival costume contest for the last time. She was dressed like a giant crawfish. I figured if these little dogs could win to be little crawfish, I'm going to dress her up as a giant crawfish. Well, she didn't even place this year. She lost to two little dogs. One was dressed up like a taco. The second place dog was also dressed like a taco. I still don't understand. Now there's one more small dog who has really created my dislike for dogs, for small dogs. And his name is Captain. He was an 8-pound Havanese that I fell in love with one day at the Oregon Humane Society. And this Havanese is known for being a circus dog. Havanese were raised in Cuba, and they were the entertainment for the family. So I decided I was going to get this dog and I was going to teach it tricks. And I could hold the food up for it, and this little dog could walk forwards and backwards on its hind legs and do little pirouettes. And this dog was going to win the Tualatin Crawfish Festival contest for me. But there was one little problem. This dog could not learn to pee and poop outside. And one day while I was sitting in the bed on the laptop doing some work, this little dog walks right up to me, lifts its leg, and pees on my comforter less than 2 feet away from me. And that was it. I no longer liked small dogs, and that dog no longer lived with me. Now the moral of the story is that a dog will do almost anything for a bone, except not pee, not poop, not bark, or not eat all your personal belongings. This is why I do not like small dogs.